Hello, Earthlings. Welcome to RGN, the Regular Guy News. I am your host. I am your anchor, Dan Black. And, I don't know. Right? Okay. Hello, welcome back to the Regular Guy News, RGN, the least pretentious name in news. We barely know what we're talking about, but somehow know everything, baby. Remember, this podcast is grassroots. If you've been listening every week, tell somebody about the show, about RGN. And also give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That's how we take this shit to the next level. Heading into the Biden-Harris administration. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about this week. I'm just gonna dive right in. But by the way, if you're new to this show, this is the Regular Guy News. I call it the least pretentious name in news because what we do here on this podcast is we are news junkies. We're like to be informed people, especially in these weird, crazy times. And we watch a lot of mainstream media, read articles on the internet. We still have a lot of questions, and we're literally just trying to find the truth, and come up with just logical, regular guy conclusions about, what the F is going on, okay? Simple, somehow, I think we might be a more legit news source than most things I see, somehow. But maybe I'm part of the problem. I really, I don't know. Anyway, we got a lot to get into, so I'm just going to get right into it. Before I do, let's go out to the field, introduce our only RGN correspondent, Aaron Finnerty, somewhere out in the field. Aaron, hold on, the satellites are connected. Aaron.
Hello, Dan. Do I have you?
Yeah, I got you. Satellites are connected.
Hello, Dan.
How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Where are you reporting from? Oh, look, I'm seeing the satellite. It looks like, you're in D.C.
Yeah, I'm in Washington. I'm in Congress today.
Wow, on the floor.
It's like empty in here,
Maskless on the floor, I see.
Well, there's no one in here. There's a couple of guards down there, but...
That is true. You're on another level than them, in more ways than one.
I don't know where everyone is, to be honest.
It looks like no one's working today.
It's weird.
Wow. Aaron, what are you doing in D.C.? Are you breaking a story, or?
I'm just here hanging out. I was invited down here to Congress, and I get here, it's empty. I don't know.
No one's working today.
No one's working. I don't know what they're working on, where they are, what they're discussing, but I don't know. So I'm just waiting.
It looks like we avoided a government shutdown, so everyone should kind of be working in there. But
my friend Nancy, she and I were supposed to go get Manny Petties this afternoon, but she's a no-show.
Is this Nancy Pelosi?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, Manny Petties. Wow. I saw that. Did this Nancy get the vaccine yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can't tell you. Well, I can't tell you.
Well, I think before we get into all the hot news action, I think we should discuss the most pressing piece of news for me, which is a lot of scrawny arms on the men getting vaccines. I mean, it's Jesus Christ. Are these guys all a bunch of wimps? I mean,
they must be.
These guys are not pumping buys at all. I mean,
there's no emphasis on.
So started with Pence, who had trash arms. Then it went to Biden.
Arms.
Biden, no, I give a pass on because he is 80 years old and actually looked as good as Pence's arm.
Yeah, he's lean. He's lean. He's lean. He's a Peloton rider.
Yeah, he's a Peloton man.
Yeah.
Right, which, they pump the buys a little bit with the Peloton. What do they
depends.
get?
Are you doing
the weighted things?
Yeah. You doing intervals in arms or just legs, just a cardio thing?
But I noticed that Marco Rubio, another shit arms. This guy had shit arms. And he's like a young, kind of handsome guy, right?
Yeah.
We
got to look at Cory Booker's arms.
No, I haven't seen Cory Booker's arms. I bet his arms are pretty good. I think Cory Booker takes care of himself, right?
Yeah.
He's got a Hollywood girlfriend, right?
Well, I don't know if you can see this photo.
Oh, I can.
So
I can. All right.
he has lifted a weight once. We know that confirmed.
But I will report in good news, Kamala Harris had a nice arm.
Oh,
She looked good.
of
She looked
course.
good.
She's all about, she's out there, election results, she's on a jog.
Absolutely.
She's not staying home.
Yes, watch out. Anyway, you can hear him still coughing, so let's get into the next update. So, by the way, if you're a listener of my pro wrestling podcast and you also listen to this, thank you. You know what's up. I last week we were here. I did not have my COVID results, but I did discuss that I was feeling sick, so we didn't know formally. I formally tested positive live on the air during the Comedians of Wrestling podcast. Got a text from so I did have COVID-19. I am actually technically out, even though I sound like shit, I'm out of the contagious zone, apparently.
Okay, the contagious zone.
Right. Now, that being said, if you guys want to get some firsthand COVID knowledge, no one knows shit. Because I spoke to my doctor this morning. He was kind of like, yo, if you're still coughing, you're still contagious. But everything I read is like, yo, you're not contagious. You're definitely not contagious.
I guess
like
they
everything.
just don't know.
Because I have what's called like a dry productive cough, okay? Which kind of means like I'm already, like that. But listen, I'm talking, I'll keep being careful. Even from the LA, I had to sign some kind of like stay-at-home order. And like, look, you guys know we tend to be like a left-leaning podcast, especially in the Trump times, Again, open to calling out all bullshit, especially as we go forward. If I don't like what Biden and Kamala are up to, I'm going to say it, But most of the time what will actually happen is very similar to you guys, which is I will not understand anything enough to know who's right or who's wrong. And then I'll get taken advantage of by my own government. But so, yeah, so, all right. All right. There's so many ways to go. LA sends me this thing, right? LA tried to do this thing where, like, I got tested at, like, one of the, I guess they're, like, government sites. They're run by Core, which is Sean Penn's company. But I think that they have some kind of government subsidies, but a lot of their money comes private. But they're clearly working directly with the city of Los Angeles,
Of course.
And so, city of Los Angeles, I've gotten tested before, right? So they'll text you, or you could choose like text or email. They text me the results, right? And they're like, yo, hey, here's your results, right? But immediately after that, I got a second text that was like, hey, if you've tested positive, we know you just got results. If you did test positive, then make sure to check out all this information. And I started going, hey, all the other times I test negative, I never got this follow-up text.
Yeah, right.
So they're trying to pretend like, yo, your health requirements are private. Like, we're not going to dive into it, except here's a text because we know you're positive, right? So that I look at my results. I am positive, okay? In the literature I get, it says I'm way out of the contagious zone. Like, I could go back to work now according to the regulations. So if my doctor is right, we're not protected. No one knows anything. Just to get into what RGN is all about, which is like, yo, I'm just a regular guy. This is fucking confusing. Now, the city of LA also sent me essentially actually, you want to hear what it's actually called?
Yeah.
Okay. Here it is. They sent me something called a Public Health Emergency Isolation Order. Okay?
To you, Dan Black.
To me, Dan Black. To sign.
Oh, okay. So it's like a pact.
Right.
Put your droplets on this line and don't leave your house.
Right. Here's my beef with this public. Like, they don't fucking know what I do. Luckily for them, I'm an unemployed actor. Okay?
Right.
And lucky for them, many people in LA are unemployed actors. But, like, are they allowed to just think, yo, stay at home, you're not allowed to work? Like, what if I lost my job? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, there's just, like, such a disconnect with the government telling you, like, what you could do with your. I know that their intentions are pure, or whatever. I don't know. Who
Right.
knows?
Well, you're signing this thing and then so you sign it, but it's an honor system
But I think they can
pact,
also
right?
like find me. But what if I was?
They have to find you and then
Yeah.
find you, I guess.
But I don't
So
know. But I'm
who's
saying, like,
doing that?
what if I was an essential worker who doesn't get paid anything? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
need systems in place. Like, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, if this, and this ties into a lot of stuff that I saw today. Like, it's kind of like what the true catastrophe of COVID-19, and why, if you're someone going around being like it's 99.9% like survival rate, why you're so dumb is because look how many issues have been conflated. Like, even just to do a news podcast, like how the article where I'm jumping is so all over the place as we move into like a fully globalized world.
Mm-hmm.
And as we have tried to keep pushing capitalism classic, it doesn't work during a national crisis. National crisis demands socialism, it feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of can't, and that is for everybody's almost their safety, because what's going on right now is the vaccine is falling severely behind in so many ways. There's literally like stuff that's happening is like we don't have proper supply chains to deliver vaccines because we don't have a nationalized healthcare system. So
Right.
like England and them, these guys have like the NIH or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, they have their version. I forget what it's called,
They're
but
like ready to
NHS.
NHS, right? These guys are already have a system in place, including like supply chains for medical equipment that we don't have.
I mean, it's so crazy. Like they call you when your number is up. You don't do anything. Like they call you and tell you, like, oh, it's your turn.
Right.
Like that's how much they have their shit together. Like I can't even imagine the US government calling me and being like, hey, come get this vaccine. It's your turn. It's like we
No.
have to figure everything out.
And not only that, I'm also conditioned to be like very skeptical of government. Like when I got this order from LA County, I'm like, yo, don't fucking tell me what to do with my life. And that's because they don't give me enough for me to like trust them, really,
Or to trust that there's going to be consequences. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
even like with the curfew in LA, it was so vague, so hard to find the real
Right.
info on it. And then it's like, well, so what exactly happens if you break your stay at home order or if you get caught out
Right.
after 10 p.m.? Like, it's no one knows. Or it's
Right.
really hard to find out.
And like, so see, like I'm jumping around on a bajillion things here because of just the nature of the times we live in, which is like so fucking confusing. So like,
Mhm.
what? I don't see how we can stay. All right, so God, I'm jumping in another direction right now, but this is part of. I watched Anderson Cooper did a special on pandemics over the weekend.
Cool.
The Coop, yeah. Okay, so whatever. If you want to shit on CNN, like I don't really have time for the like shitting on CNN behavior, because it's like, yo, I know the stuff that CNN does wrong, but ultimately I believe they're trying to report factual news, okay?
Like the news.
Right. And like I just can't say the same for most. So that might be, so you can have your issues with something like a CNN, but the bar is too low to lash out at CNN right now. And that is
Right,
another
right.
thing we'll get into when we start talking about this Section 230 stuff that the president is spouting about. But like, all right, so a couple things is pandemics are going to keep happening. That's the thing no one's talking about. Like that. So we keep knocking down natural habitats for these animals, and we're
Mhm.
blending more and more, and we're gonna see more and more people eating the wrong shit,
Yep, going to
and
wet markets.
right. And if we keep pulling out of all kinds of health initiatives and
Mhm.
living this like stock market lifestyle, like that's my understanding of it. It's like we're just gonna keep. We need to plant. Like we
Right.
need. I mean, the only thing I'm positive of here is that healthcare is like needs to be fully socialized. It's non-negotiable. Like that needs
Of
to be.
course.
It's for everyone's safety
Right.
because, man, it's our healthcare system is falling apart literally. And right now, what we're relying on, what's happening with this vaccine is like, so you're relying on these companies like Pfizer or Moderna, right,
Hmm.
to also deliver. They're like using FedEx to send this vaccine that needs to be held at specific temperatures, and they're literally having instances where like nurses and stuff, like there's no like proper training. They're accidentally leaving this stuff out too long, and they're tossing vaccines.
Oh my
Like
God.
they've had to toss, like there was some hospital had to toss like 1,000 vaccines.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. So like this is the shit that's going on right now. It's like we're a fucking mess. Like it's a
Yeah.
mess. And so Biden right now is like, yo, I'm gonna distribute. I don't know. I think it's what is it, 100 million doses in the first 100 days or something, like
Hmm.
whatever his thing is. And CNN's already saying like, yo, I'm not sure that's gonna happen
I
because
mean,
we're
he's
having
not being
major
shot.
setbacks. You know?
Yeah. Well, he's being pretty upfront, it sounds like, about how he knows that this, I think he called it like one of the biggest undertakings that we've ever had in this
Right.
country is going to be distributing this vaccine. So who knows if they'll figure it out, but he knows he's got a hill to climb there.
Right. So my thing is that like, uh, so is like we need to figure out how to make our relationship with government way stronger. Where, see, my cough is it's coughing
That's it.
bad. I
Uh-huh.
have to go pick up. Just give me a sec. But where they don't send me this order, and I'm like, oh, they actually have good intentions here. They're not trying to
Hmm.
just like find me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Because I don't know, maybe that's just me as like a cynic or a skeptic, but like I just feel like the government, like, and then also the government needs to work on in so many other ways. Like I have other things in my life right now that I'm waiting for from the government, mainly like my professional license, and
Hmm.
they so in California the California Board of Accountancy is closed.
Oh,
They're closed,
they're
and
just
then when I send
closed.
an email, they have an email open. Here's what happens if you have to get in touch with them. They forward you to the Center of Commerce or something. Like they don't know shit. Like
And they don't know
I'm
anything, right?
no, 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 no. It's like basically like some call center. They're not working, and so then in terms of so so I'm saying like the stuff I need from the government they don't give me, but they also have the gall to tell me like stay at home, but they don't help me with my health care or
Right.
anything. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you
Yeah,
hear
that's
Gavin Newsom
frustrating.
is telling you to stay at home, but he's going to eat at French Laundry. Like, it's like even me, who's like in California, pretty left leaning. People would say. I would argue I'm not as left leaning
Hmm.
as people would say, but like my friends who live in New York and stuff think I'm like fucking, but have dreads basically. So
Right, right. You
and
smell
I
like
don't
patchouli.
right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's fucking weird times, and having COVID is more confusing than I kind of expected. Um, Now I'm in terms of my actual health. I
Hmm.
talked about my symptoms a bunch last week, but I'm totally fine now. I just have this lingering cough. The danger with the lingering cough is they say it can turn into a bronchitis or a pneumonia. So they're putting me on a prescription strength cough medicine now. Um,
Nice.
Now it's crazy because I keep hearing more and more people getting COVID. Like COVID in Los Angeles is every day I hear somebody new who has it. It's always like, wow, people who are not doing shit. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
You know, I was on set shooting something. I was, I mean, I wasn't doing that much stuff compared to other people, but
Hmm.
yeah. So it's really bad here. There's zero hospital beds. It's
Yeah.
fucking nuts.
They have hospital beds set up in the gift shops of hospitals now because there's no more room.
Right.
And also, they're researching to see if we have the strain that was the variant that was reported on last week that's spreading in the UK, because we have had this like, exponential burst of cases in the last
Right.
couple weeks. So,
Now, Aaron, tell me if you think I'm a Grinch or not, okay? Because
A
I'm
Grinch? Okay.
Jewish. I'm a Jewish man,
Right.
right? So
Uh-huh.
I don't really, I don't celebrate Christmas, but still, like, appreciate it. Hey, during a pandemic, is there Christmas? I mean, I couldn't. My doctor wasn't in till today. I had to wait. I got tested, and then I'm like, oh, doctor's not in till Tuesday,
Right. He's off.
because he's off for Christmas. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Oh, like, what are we, little kids? You know, like,
Right.
I mean,
In a
am I?
global pandemic.
Yeah, like, am I a Grinch? Like, can't, like, I can't, like, we gotta still take off. We still gotta do the whole Christmas thing, like when the world's falling apart. We can't save that for like I don't know. Am I
I don't
insane?
think you're Grinch like if you're applying that logic to a doctor, because
Right.
one might argue that their
It's kind of like you're a
services are
doctor. Like, grow up,
essential.
bro. You
But
know?
like the rest of us, like I'm on vacation. I took
Yeah.
off because it's 2020 and we need a break. And also my services are expendable for a few days. But if
Okay.
you're a doctor who's treating COVID patients,
Yeah.
one might argue take your vacation another time.
I mean, maybe I'm just like, since I'm so useless, I kind of like have the. I'm expecting more from people, but I'm not sure why. I don't
You're
think I.
expecting more, but you're giving less.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I'm giving enough. Where I
Hmm.
talk a big. I don't think I deserve anything to
Right.
begin with. So, but maybe. Oh God, Aaron, I'm dying.
Well,
So
you deserve some cough medicine.
well, I couldn't get it till. So here's the deal. Okay, I'm in Los Angeles, California. This is a news podcast, by the way. This
Hmm.
is not just me complaining, but I'm in Los Angeles, California. I can't go to the ICU because for the greater good, right? I'm
Yeah.
fine. I can breathe. I'm coughing. It's annoying. If it was regular times, I would have went to the ICU just to have someone look at my lungs, right?
Right.
Because why not? But I was like, you know what? I go in there, infect somebody who had to drive somebody there for something else, right?
You mean the emergency room, not the ICU.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say
Emergency.
Dan's in the intensive care unit.
I might pop in. I might pop
You
in.
might pop in.
Just lay on the ground.
I need
Uh,
help.
yeah. So is there any kind of camaraderie in the doctors like of LA being like, hey, we're gonna be available for you? I'm being like a dick to the frontline
Yeah.
workers, aren't I?
Well, keep going.
But I'm just saying, like, to be like, hey, we're gonna stay open because we know you can't go to the hospital. So we're gonna cancel Christmas 1 year. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Or at least you don't have to cancel Christmas, but you can take some calls. I can see your kid walking in the back with a new truck. Like a little,
Yeah, yeah.
but you're still. But I couldn't call anybody. Like I couldn't talk to a doctor on Christmas. If I had to, they're like, hey, they're like, go to the urgent care, which
Right.
is like. But then I'm a walking contagion,
Yeah, you're
right?
the little coronavirus bubble with the suction cups, and all your spike proteins.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that I'm saying it's a mess. That's all I'm saying. It's a
It's a
mess.
mess.
It's a mess. Like it feels a little like you're on your own. Now, that being said, in New York City, they have all those like urgent care, those like privately owned urgent MDs and stuff like
Hmm.
that on the corners that they take your insurance and you could pop in. They don't really have those in LA.
Yeah.
Do they have
Um,
those in Philly when you lived in
yeah.
Philly?
Yeah.
Those are fucking great. So
Right.
maybe I could argue that that's a good way to go because I used to like if you just needed to like see like, hey doc, do I got strep throat or not? Because I'm trying to live this life.
Yeah.
You know?
Like one time Mike had an allergic reaction to something, face started
Yeah.
swelling, just popped in, got told the what for, and then left.
Right.
Um, I fell and like split my face open, went there real quick, bounced out.
In Philly.
Easy peasy. Yeah, in Philly.
Right. So it's like, cause like, I don't want to like I rather drop dead than like make an appointment with a doctor anymore. Is that like, I mean,
Well, here's the catch 22 because I
yeah,
do know of
yeah.
an urgent care facility that is near us, but it's in a hospital where you're not allowed to go, right? So
Oh.
I don't know if you
It's
could.
just LA is just like kind of a piece of crap. It's like it really, it's the one thing that me and the Trump administration are together on.
Hmm.
Me, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro. This is the thing we all agree on.
Oh, okay.
I think LA really is a piece of shit. Now, that being said, there's a lot to love about Los Angeles,
Can't
and the
beat
state
it.
of California
Yeah.
is fucking a natural wonder of the world. Like,
Yeah.
if you're someone like, there's all these like Midwest people like fucking California. They like hate on California,
Yeah. Because they don't live here.
right? And you're like, you're absolute moron. Like,
Yeah.
don't fall for like having allegiance to because California leans blue and it's got like you don't like the rainbow flag or whatever your deal is.
Right.
Whatever you don't like about it. Whatever you don't like about it.
that
I'm
flag.
speaking
Our
very
state
broadly.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you don't like about it, drop that shit because it's a natural wonder. Like you could drive the PCH from SoCal, completely different temperature, up to Napa Valley. Eat at French Laundry with beautiful Gavin Newsom.
It's really
but
good
Napa
there.
Valley is like amazing. California is one of the things. It's like I never came here until I was in my mid-20s. I never set foot here on the West Coast even. And
well,
it's
it can
amazing.
also be December 29th, and it's like 60 something degrees outside, sunny.
Well, I think I become such a wuss. Like like 2 nights ago, it was raining pretty bad here.
Oh yeah, thunder.
And there was like
That's
thunder
news.
and lightning, and like I'm like hugging the dogs. I'm like
Yeah.
terrified. I'm like, oh shit,
Same.
it's gonna. But that's also because everything in California is built like shit, because they don't even handle weather. They don't even deal with it.
Yeah.
So like if you have your heat on, it's got to be constantly blowing. It's not. There's no insulation. It's not staying in. They don't feel like my windows are gonna blow out at 30 miles an hour wind. The windows are out.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, what are we talking about today? So look, the thing is with my COVID, I have the cough. I've spoken to a bunch of people who've had COVID, and I am kind of not a severe case because there's like 3,000 people dying a day of COVID in the U.S. right now. While your president, by the way, on the golf course currently, as we speak right now, as we record this, on the golf course. I've seen live shots of it. And President-elect is giving press conferences that are like doom and gloom, which is, I'm all about the truth. I'll take it. So I'm saying, I think my case though is on the at least the middle to a little severe side, because some people just don't even get coughs. And what I could say is that well, you definitely don't want this thing. You definitely don't want to. You can't get it. If you don't get the cough, I think that's the best way to go. If you're not coughing, good for you.
You can have the fever.
Yeah.
The kind of more mainstream symptoms, but you don't want the cough.
The cough is the worst part.
Well, and the cough is one that they say can last a long time, right? Like you can be done, but still have this mystery cough that doesn't go away.
Anyway, Aaron. So anyway, that's the update on me. Is that I'm doing okay. I'm sleeping. I'm fine. My appetite is I still haven't. I'm down 10 pounds.
Wow.
I weighed 205 when I got sick, and now I'm weighing at 196 about for 9 pounds. I will be honest. I was definitely a little beefed up. But yeah, I did lose 10 pounds. So
do you feel less beefed up now?
It's fucking man.
Or was a lot of that water?
No, I was off the creatine for a while. So I feel like shit about it. I'm trying to just let myself relax so I was talking to the doctor. I was like, "Yo, hey doc, like, hey, can I be pumping? Again? Like, I'm like, I know I'm coughing, so I'll take it a little easier." But he was like, he's like, "What's going on with the cough?" He's like, "Your body's still fighting this thing. So even if you might not be contagious," but he's like, "I wouldn't use energy for exercise right now. Let your body use its energy to heal itself."
That's smart, I guess. Wow. This doctor really knows what he's talking about, huh?
I don't know. Or he's just a huge wuss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course you would think that. Either that or he's a puss. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could just like sit still and like lift a weight.
Well, he did hit me with the doc hit me with he did hit me with my Trump test, which is like, which is hey, it's 99.9% you're gonna be all right. And like
Right?
that's my Trump line. Like I'm like, if you drop that line, but I guess in the
You know what
context of a
time it is.
doctor,
Right,
it might
right.
be just to comfort me because so
Yeah,
at first I was like, this guy might be a little Trumpy, like he's like kind of like
yeah,
downplaying
yeah.
COVID, but
Uh-huh.
then he did start being like, don't work out. I'm gonna put you on some cough medicine. I think he, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if like the 99.9% effective line is followed by go about your daily life, like do your thing,
Yeah, he's like,
then
don't
that's
be.
suspect. But if he's telling you like, hey, play it safe because your body's still fighting this, I think he's just being a good doctor.
Yeah, so I think actually this guy's actually more legit than I thought. So shout out to the good folks over at the Good Brothers at UCLA.
Oh,
Uh,
one of our big listener groups,
yeah, we have a
our
lot of UCLA.
demo.
A lot of UCLA doctors are listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might kick me out of the practice, or
Hmm.
as a client or
Yeah.
patient. Anyway, he did
Anyway,
call me a client. I thought was weird. I mean,
client,
he didn't call me a patient. That felt a little Trumpy, also.
our
Calling it a
clients.
client. All right.
Huh. Anyway,
Anyway, Aaron, let's move on. Oh,
are you
I'm
sure?
keeping these coughs in so you fuckers see this shit's real. It's not a hoax.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um. Anyway. Another fun fact is that my sister-in-law, well, she's engaged to my brother, so my
Mm-hmm.
fiance-in-law, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic. She got a vaccine shot. She is
Yes.
a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She got a vaccine yesterday, the Moderna vaccine in her
Uh,
arm.
my sister-in-law is a nurse and she has also been vaccinated.
And how did she feel?
Fine.
Yeah, seems like my sister-in-law actually was feeling a little sick from it.
Oh, gotcha. Like right away?
Next day, I think.
Yeah.
But she, yeah. So anyway, it's nice to hear they're going out. But as we let's just move into some real news here, right? Not me.
Okay.
Just I think I hope you guys did like me documenting my COVID. If
Yeah.
I'm,
How much more regular does it get?
I know,
This is a
right?
guy with COVID right here.
So I play Magic the Gathering, the
Oh,
card
go
game
on.
online, and so I play against So since it started, they Magic's made this way you can play virtually with the webcam.
Mm-hmm.
So I play against a lot of guys. They're not random. They're random in terms of I don't know them, but um, they're like I have mutual friends that vouch for them, and I play anyway.
Okay.
Well, I was just like, yeah, I'm coughing. Sorry, guys, I got COVID. And one guy's like, I got COVID also. I'm like, oh, you're all right? He's like, yeah, fine. Just like, he's like, my wife tested positive, and then I can't really taste, so that's it. And then
Uh,
he's like, all right, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. I'm like, what the fuck?
what?
I mean, like, so
Oh
I
my
don't even know what
God.
state he lives in. Like, I'm just like, what a fucking man, this guy. And you see him.
Yeah.
I play Magic against him. You see his hands. He's got these like big man hands. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
got the
He's probably
black
doing
wedding
some
ring. You know the black
the
wedding ring.
tungsten wedding
Yeah,
ring.
yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's just like, yo, yeah, I got COVID. I'm going to work. Who fucking gives?
That thing's indestructible.
Yeah.
He needs
He's one
that.
of the. I kind of appreciated that, but
That's rad.
but my point is, there's just like more and more people. Like, if you have COVID, it's one of those things people don't really talk about. I'm actually like way more open about it. I keep finding out people who are like have it but keep it low. You know what I'm
Keep it on.
saying?
Yeah, like they're ashamed.
I don't know. Maybe. I think like, I understand it. Like when you have it, it is weird. You tell people you're like you do feel like, oh, people are gonna be like scared of me or something.
Or it's like, oh, I got this. Like despite all our efforts, like I
It's kind of
still
like a
got it.
failure. Yeah,
Yeah,
like you kind
yeah.
of failed. Like you're supposed to be. And then it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be like holed up. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Like our goal with all this stuff has been not to get it and you still got it. You
Yeah, I
should be
mean,
ashamed.
absolutely. I mean, I've been out there pumping iron,
Hmm.
and then I put on probably 10 pounds of muscle during quarantine that I lost instantly from COVID. So
From COVID, yeah. Damn.
that's fucking payback. That's if there is a God.
That's a real monkey's
Then
paw.
yeah, if there is a God, then she played a wicked trick
Yeah.
on me, folks. Did you see that progressive statement, folks?
Oh
We
my
all
Gaia.
know
Oh
God
my
is a
Gaia.
man. Everyone knows God is a man.
Oh my God.
Because who could fuck up this bad? Only a man. All right, let's get
Facts,
into
facts.
let's jump into some real news, Aaron.
All
What do you
right.
think, so?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's lock it in.
All right.
Okay, so Aaron, I um I would like to I'm letting the president, the current president, he's still the president whether you like it or not, okay?
Yeah.
I've kind of like followed his lead this week, right? Because like I'm saying, there's a lot of issues being conflated. There's a lot, how this all ties together is kind of crazy. Um, um, so here's a Trump tweet that he put out today, okay? And we'll use this as our jumping off point.
Okay.
Okay. Unless Republicans have a death wish, right away, this is what you want to hear from your president.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize the tweet started that way.
Yeah, unless Republicans have a death wish. And it is also the right thing to do. That's in comma, like, right? So this is how this idiot writes. He's got to come out swinging, but then in using commas to his advantage. Here's what here's what I should say. Okay, so unless Republicans have a death wish, and it's also the right thing to do, they must approve the $2,000 payments ASAP. $600 is not enough. Also, get rid of Section 230. Don't let big tech steal our country, and don't let the Democrats steal the presidential election.
Okay.
Get tough. Okay.
Don't let future tense. Don't let them steal it. Okay.
Okay. You gotta give Trump credit for he has a real knack for Twitter. Like he can take
because he spends all of his time on there.
So all right, let's just talk about all the stuff that happens in this tweet. In this one tweet, okay? Keep in mind he's on a golf course while this goes out.
Yeah, he's probably being driven in a golf cart.
Or this was like in the car before. I don't know the exact time.
Yeah.
But he's on the golf course today. It's a Tuesday. Okay? He has tackled in this tweet the stimulus package, big tech.
Yep.
And has also contested the presidential election.
Wow. And also.
And went to war with his own party.
Right. Threaten their lives, essentially.
Yeah. So, he has a real knack for oversimplifying the most complicated shit. So,
yeah, he really knows how to make use of his 240 characters.
Right. So this is I find to be the most confusing because Trump is now on the side of the Democrats who were pushing for $2,000 payments.
Right.
Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders right now are on the exact same page, to put that in perspective. Okay.
One for the history books, folks.
Right. So he's going after the Republicans. Now, my guess is here, this is just RGN style. I would take a bullet to the head if I'm wrong here. He's sticking it to the Republicans because they're now starting to acknowledge that Joe Biden is the president.
Right.
He stands for truly nothing and is like, why don't I make the Republicans look like shit on my way out?
Right.
By the way, fun fact, Anthony Scaramucci, who's actually a great guest on cable news.
I was gonna say when he comes on, I'm always like, this guy. I forgot about him, but love to see him.
Well, Anthony Scaramucci is like a real New Yorker, Yeah. This guy has a real knack for just telling it like it is, Right. And I don't know if I would assume he's a piece of crap. I mean, I would never vote for him for anything.
No.
Okay. But he thinks that Donald Trump's going to show up to Inauguration Day, and he's going to find a way to make it about him.
God.
I can't see how he shows up to Inauguration Day.
I don't see him showing up at all.
Yeah, I don't see how he's going to do that. Hold on, I got to crack a LaCroix.
I think they're just going to leave office. There's going to be no changing of the guards. They're just going to turn all the chairs upside down, rogue papers everywhere.
I think they do the whole thing. I think they're going to do the whole. There's a couple things. First off, Biden's been trying to be we're going to go back to this tweet in a sec, but Biden's been trying to be like, listen, he understands we got bigger fish to fry than Donald Trump. This Donald Trump thing will work itself out on January 20th. But he's now starting to see that a lot of his transition efforts are being still blocked by Trump officials who are getting in the way. And then also he's setting himself up. He's setting Biden up to fail with the vaccine. Like, it's not going smooth. So they're already way behind, So he's already seeing the writing on the wall that his promises are going to be harder to deliver because this is not going to be a smooth transition. Anyway, we'll see if Trump shows up to Election Day. I have a feel I don't think he will, but I could see him because it's cameras. And he gets to the thing is the only issue is that you never see the outgoing president speak.
Yeah. You see the pleasantries like shaking hands and stuff, and then inbound president takes the oath. But I think that Trump wants to believe that he's a class act, and like wants to project that appearance. So I guess it would be possible that he just shows up and like everything's fine. But I don't know.
Right.
The election, they're in the process of stealing it still.
Right.
So who knows?
Well, so anyway, this $2,000 payment thing is very fucking interesting. So he's basically making McConnell look like an ass clown.
Yeah.
So, which he does himself, but they agreed to the stimulus, and then Mitch McConnell's gonna be like, "Look, we're giving you money," but what we're seeing is that all the Republicans are kind of have to, like Rubio's already like, I'm for the $2,000 payment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys are already now just saying they're for it because it's kind of like political suicide to try to give less money, even though that's their whole game. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think. Yeah, what makes me angry about this stuff is like, just think about how much tax money you pay to the federal government. Call up your accountant if you can look at your tax return last year, right? Look at it, because I don't think people understand taxes in this country. It's one of the biggest cons, okay? And I am a CPA, okay? And look at how much federal withholding you have, okay? Go on your tax return. Go to it. I can tell you what line. Send me a message. I'll tell you how to know. So essentially what you're saying to the government is like, hey, we're in the middle of like an emergency. Why don't you give me back 2,000 of those dollars? That's all you're saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, I used my last stimulus check to pay my tax bill. So
that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So you're saying when people start like getting all fiscally conservative, the Republicans, to me, there's such a contradiction there because you're like, why? It's like you don't want to do a lot of spending, but you're not talking about spending. You're talking about giving people back their money so they can spend it in the economy to like pay renters, pay like their landlords. And so it's like, what? I just don't really know what we're talking about here. And it comes down to the bullshit of the Republican Party to me. It's like the only argument you can ever come down to is, I guess, trickle-down economics or something.
Well, their whole they don't want to – it's all like the deficit, this like fantasy
the deficit went way up under Trump, so it's just like they're lying.
Well, they don't want to add to – their whole rationale for not wanting the increased checks is they don't want to add to the deficit. But it's like –
Pete Correale is a great comedian. If you guys don't know Pete Correale is, great comedian. He has a bit in his special. It's called For Pete's Sake, I think is his special. It's on Amazon. I recommend it. I think he's one of the funniest guys. This guy has a thing about the bit about the deficit where he's like it's going up, it's going up. He's like, we're not paying it.
Right.
We're not paying it. Who gives a shit about the deficit? We're not paying it. No. And then it's funny because I feel like that's how they feel when they're voting. But also, I don't really give a shit about the deficit. Like the government, not that I understand the deficit and how that affects our economy, how we owe to Russia, to China, like blah, blah, blah. But like, all I know is simple math, which is that the withholding that comes out of your paychecks is too high in the year of a pandemic. So that's all you're asking for is that money back. Now, if you want to
Right.
have arguments about people who don't pay taxes, well, then that's one thing. If you somebody's an illegal immigrant, I don't know. Let's have a conversation because they're not paying this and that. But then also at the same point, it's like if I'm paying all this taxes, do I care that much if they're giving money to people who are going to be out on the street, like kids on the street? Like that's part of the. To me, that's part of the tax of living in America. You know,
Right. Right.
like we could talk about immigration reform another time, but reform another time. Right now, I'm talking about people who are walking around as human infections really right now if you want to treat it at the most base, which is where
Yeah.
the Republicans bring it feels like. Anyway, I'm jumping all over the place.
Hmm.
So let's see, so Trump wants this $2,000 payment. My guess is this is going to happen, and it'll be on Trump's watch, and then he probably gets to go out being like, look what I did there,
Enjoy. Yeah. Well, it depends, right? Because today,
yeah,
Tuesday, the Mitch blocked the immediate vote by Senate that was needed to pass. It was a vote exclusively on the $2,000 checks,
right,
but Mitch blocked it, saying that in addition to this, we need to revisit some other issues that the president has taken issue with. So it could be a while until we get the
right.
$2,000. But Bernie also tweeted, like, well, if we don't get the $2,000 check vote, then there's no New Year's break for Senate or whatever. So who
Right.
knows?
Wait, let me ask you something. So
Yeah.
also, if you're curious, by the way, the phase out I think is at like $150,000 if your household makes 150.
Yeah, it's 75 per person.
Right. So if you also break it down that way, guys, like you're really helping people who are not making a shit ton of money. I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's money that's actually going to the people who need it. Like that, we need more of this.
Hmm.
Because people don't even have health care. We're not even sure if this vaccine's going to be free. Like this is insane. Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway, then Trump. So let's assume Trump is like, hey, well, I'll just give out more money, whatever. I don't give a shit, right? He's on his way out, right?
Hmm.
Because the interesting thing about Trump is that he's becoming less and less relevant. Like it's happening faster than I even thought.
Oh, I know. I
Right?
mean, like, he's just like faded out from, because the spotlight was so intense, I think, through kind of like mid-November, and then he's just kind of like
I know, but
in the
Aaron,
background now.
if you remember, like it's kind of crazy how presidents disappear. Like I remember when
Yeah.
George Bush like left, he like disappeared, and Obama also. They like
Obama did too.
disappear.
Yeah.
They're like, well, because they're so fucking done with these jobs. This guy's had 2 full terms. Okay, but Trump's also just like playing golf. I mean, he's going out on like truly the worst note you possibly could. But to
Yeah.
me, the very much the same note. I almost appreciate him out of the way. Like it's just great.
Of course.
Okay, so then he throws in this Section 230 thing, Eric, and I'm
Right.
like, okay, so he's conflating knocking his own party, the stimulus package, and then also get rid of 230, which, by the way, has nothing to do with the stimulus package, at all. There's nothing. And what Section 230 is, I didn't know much about it. Did you know anything about it before?
No, not before.
No, I didn't know anything about it too, but it's a pretty interesting thing. Essentially, Section 230 is it's part of the Communications Decency Act, a 1996 law that regulated online pornography. Um,
Oh, I actually do know a little bit about this. I read a book that was written by an attorney whose whole job kind of revolved around this rule.
right. Interesting. Specifically, Section 230 provides legal immunity from liability for internet services and users for content posted on the internet.
Right.
So,
So like in this book, for example, like if someone has a video of you and it
right,
shows up on a website, the this rule granted immunity to those websites because the internet was so small at the time.
right,
So revenge porn and stuff like that exploited this rule, and that's how these sites existed.
Right.
So
Right. And by the way, if anyone wants to do revenge porn me,
mm-hmm.
you fully have permission.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem is I would take it as a compliment.
Are you demanding a commission, like a finder's fee or
I'm
something
looking
like
for
that?
someone. The revenge porn. I don't think there is any porn of me out there, but um,
God
I don't know. Maybe there's
willing.
some secret cameras. I don't know, but I would like someone. You could take Photoshop my face.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't need to be anatomically correct either. I could just be
Preferably
facing.
not,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
10 pounds, lighter than you were before.
That's
So
true. That's true. I like this. If you want revenge porn, it's like, oh man, look at Dan, man. Look at.
he's hairless, he's ripped. I don't know why his
He's
body's
black.
tan and his face is not.
Uh,
He looks great.
yeah. No. Anyway, but I'm saying. So here's the thing about 230. Um, the interesting thing, 230 is kind of controversial right now because of how the internet has grown. So what it does is it provides a company like a YouTube where like they can't be in trouble for what you post because they're like just a platform. Now, so my thing is that 230 I think honestly is an extension of free speech. Like I'm not sure saying get rid of 230, another insane declaration of Donald Trump that is purely just in his own vendetta against these
Yeah.
companies
Yeah.
because directly tied to them starting to fact check him. Okay, but 230. The thing about Trump that makes no sense is like 230 does not. It actually it does it doesn't hurt him any more than anyone else. If anything, in my mind, 230's been insanely to his benefit
Right.
because okay, so with 230 allows conspiracy posts is what he does. People who are not based in fact, who are full on liars like him,
Mm-hmm.
get a platform and actually have been completely legitimized. So like
Yeah.
230, if you get rid of it, then there's liability for like Fox News and the super right wing, right? So like for
Or
example, or like
yeah.
Candace Owens, like all
Mm-hmm.
his supporters will now. So like, all right, let's put this in perspective. He's a huge man, but put this in perspective. Like, recently, what's it called? News. What's that?
Max.
Newsmax, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yes, Newsmax, which is as you're only watching Newsmax if you're like a QAnon person, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like full right. Like
Fox News is too tame for you.
right.
Too centrist.
They had to put out a full like rebuttal, like a full clarification segment explaining that like all the Giuliani because now all these what's that company called? The fucking
The
Dominion.
Oh,
Dominion voting. They run a
right.
lot of the voting in
Mm-hmm.
machines in the country. Giuliani and that other quack woman. They were saying Dominion was run by the Venezuelan government, right? Chavez is dead,
Right,
and
right.
a lot of these Newsmax had Giuliani in there, didn't fact check him, didn't push back on him at all, and now Dominion's like, all right, guys, now we're done with this charade of this election fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna sue you guys. Now Dominion is just fucking suing everybody
Right.
for just all these blatant lies. So now a place like Newsmax, which unregulated have a Giuliani on and like spread this stuff, are having to say like because they have legal liability because they're actual like television networks and they have to be like we never said this stuff was true. So like that's what's going on. So my point is that like you get rid of 230, this is going to take down the whole Trump lie. Like it's so what is he thinking?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, because in the tweet, he ties it to voting machines, I guess. Or
Right.
are those two issues just being conflated? I'm not sure, but I don't know. I don't
Well,
know
like
why.
pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Like an example, right? It's a conspiracy about the pandemic.
Yeah.
If you're a pandemic person, odds are you're voting for Trump, right?
Yeah. Very good odds.
right? Okay, so that means you think that Corona is a hoax. It's a government operation to like get you
Mm-hmm.
all microchips in your asshole or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if YouTube, if there's no 230, YouTube can be can be sued for pandemic. It's almost the equivalent of YouTube saying like we're a news. They're held to the same standard as a news outlet, and if they post something and they don't retract it, they're not trying to be truthful. They could be sued. So pandemic would be immediately taken down, right?
Right.
Immediately.
And like Twitter, for example, would be open to so many lawsuits, right? Because like say you're someone who goes on Twitter, you read misinformation and suffer consequences from it or something. Now Twitter's liable also. So like you could just bring a court case saying like I read this bogus tweet that was wrong and now I have COVID and I'm sick, so I'm going to sue you and Twitter for that.
Right.
That doesn't seem good for them.
Right. Right. Like I don't see how. I think the only way Trump was able to gain followers is through this kind of shit, like Alex Jones. So actually, what's going on? What Trump is upset about is actually these social media companies are actually starting to have consciousness about stuff, and what they are doing is they're deplatforming Alex
Yeah,
Jones,
okay. So
and
that's why he doesn't like
they're
it.
fact checking his tweets and stuff, and he's equating that with Section 230, which actually protects him way more. Do you know what I mean?
And is the conflating of our stimulus checks and Section 230 a way to like punish people for not repealing 230? You know what I mean? Like you don't get your $2,000. We're not going to give out these $2,000 checks unless you give us. Like, is that what Mitch is doing?
I think he's just using the full characters. I don't think there's any plan here. Is
Yeah.
I think actually part of if I had to guess, part of Trump's 230 beef is to show you is because they're fat these company the he's trying to just really hurt. Basically, if 230 gets because even if 230 gets 230 right now, Section 230, Zuckerberg, YouTube, they all agree that they stick to the thing. We're a platform, but they all think like we can modify 230. We need to. They're starting to have conscience about it. Zuckerberg, they don't like the spread of, they don't like the spread of lies on there, but they do profit on it. So it's this fucking capitalist struggle that they have. Like I watched this on 60 Minutes. They had the CEO of YouTube on, and it's this woman who's like, we're a platform, but also she's like, whatever the government demands, we'll do. But we're doing a lot of stuff just on our own, which is like hate speech is one thing they're targeting completely. They're also trying to target fake medical stuff, like medical quackdom on social media is like out of control right now. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they are they're actually trying to deal with it. So my point is that what Donald Trump is doing is classic Donald Trump, which is fucking V for Vendetta, man. This guy
Hmm.
is like, these fucking social media companies started slapping fact checks on my tweets during the election. So if I'm going to get rid of 230, because if I get rid of 230, these companies go out of business.
Yeah, they can be
Just
sued.
personal. That's all it is.
So I just don't, it's not going to be repealed. I just
No.
don't, it's impossible,
It would.
right?
It's first off, it's anti-First Amendment, in my opinion. We couldn't even do this podcast. So, like, if
Right.
you get rid of 230, what YouTube and whatever what they're gonna do is they're gonna start just they can't with the size of the internet and the size of people's voice. They're not going to be able to regulate every single word and either do it fast enough or turn a profit. It's just not. Why would they do that? Like,
Right.
so what they would do is just if the topic for this is COVID-19, take it down. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They take it down. You don't want that. I don't want 230 down. Like, but at the same time, what we need to do is instill. I mean, There's two things that need to happen. We need to instill people's trust back in something like a CNN. And that's kind of what I hear. I mean, I don't know why I say CNN specifically, you know, but like, if you watch CNN, you have it on all day. If you're a moderately intelligent person, you'll get what you need from it. I mean, it is still at its core a lot of clips of here's what Biden said.
Right.
You know, here's doctors talking about COVID, what they're seeing in the ICUs. You know what I mean? So like, it at its core is not inherently like terrible, like people say. Now, when you get into prime time and they start worrying about ratings and stuff, it gets a little more editorial, and people might have a problem with that being on TV. So that's something to talk about. Maybe these news companies on TV, we need to have kind of draw a hard line where it's like TV news has to be way more factual. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then if anything on YouTube, go back to at your own discretion. Like, hey, you're watching that's for fun. But we'll never combat this no matter what if people like the guy I went to college with are fucking posting shamans like it's an actual alternate.
My guides.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're like, hey, here's what if you're going to start equating shamans as the same thing as Chris Cuomo editorializing too much, right?
Yeah.
Which is what your uncle's doing at the Thanksgiving table right now is like, oh, what are you watching the news? And you're like, yo, I am watching the news because it's at this point, this is the best I can do. Should I watch Plandemic? I mean, should I watch Candace Owens? Are you telling me to? Are you saying like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, totally. I mean,
there's no regulations on a Ben Shapiro. So Ben Shapiro's a really smart, intelligent guy who, by the way, has a very sheltered world view. Could use a couple smacks to the head, you know, just to start living.
I volunteer.
Right. But he's just like, he has the same regulations I have here, which is none. He's under like parity, which is why the problem with Section 230 is less about, it's same thing as like, I'm like, oh, I don't need more regulations. But we need to start calling a spade, which is like, there's no such thing as a fucking political influencer. That needs to go. We need to stop. Unfollow these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you consider us one of them, unfollow us. You know?
Unsubscribe.
I mean, I don't think I've said. I mean, we'll go through it, but like, I'm just using like logical deduction here. I'm not trying to be sensationalized or anything. I'm like, here's clearly why Trump is doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, so you're like, all right, cool, RGN. But we're here admitting we don't know what we're doing. But like, fucking Christ, man, like,
well.
I mean,
it's
I
hard.
cannot believe the point I'm saying. The last thing I'll say, Aaron, sorry. It's just like,
okay.
I cannot believe how people I know are so willfully ignorant. When you start posting shamans, right?
With the same gravity as like the news, right?
I understand that you had some trauma, people. I get it. I get it, man.
Yeah,
I know life is fucking hard, man. Like
we're all looking for answers.
I fucking get it, man. I mean, I'm like tortured because I try to live in the real plane of existence. It fucking hurts to really think about that. Like to really just be like, oh fuck, like this doesn't mean much. It's all good, but that's okay. Because there's a lot of nice stuff also. But like, if you start putting those on the same level as fact, this guy has a college education, you know, and you start growing older and you start being that uncle who's like, I don't watch the news. I don't.
The media.
And you start being so cynical about all information, and then what you've actually done is made yourself susceptible to
bullshit.
To true bullshit.
Fantasy.
Or it's not even susceptible because like you're still like, the assumption I'm making is that like you still need some kind of information flow. So you seek you seek alternate information. No, but what you actually do is you become ignorant to a lot of fact, and what you do is you kind of I feel like subconsciously you're letting in shit like what Trump says, and that's how he gets elected. Like how he gets elected is from people just being like, well, yeah, like Like the amount of people who have said shit to me, like it's like, yeah, but Fauci said not to wear a mask.
Oh my
And then you're
God.
like, are you that fucking
So
dumb? Are you
stupid.
that fucking dumb that, like, the first week when we had no masks and there was no evidence yet because we didn't do research on this brand new virus, that now you're still going to throw that out there? That those people, it's just, they need smacks. They need
Well, and
smacks to
it's
the
like
face.
there's
Now
no
I'm getting
logic
violent.
at all. Like, yes, shoot these people.
We need them dead.
Yeah, we need to murder them. But like, yeah, and as if something that you said 2 weeks ago negates what you're saying is happening now. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know, last week if I twisted my ankle, last week my ankle, well, you couldn't be like, well, last week your ankle felt fine.
Right. It's like, um, like, uh,
Ugh,
oh, I
hate
gotta
that.
cough. Right.
This is a live COVID cough, folks.
Yeah, this is a live COVID. This is, the particles might be
Go
going into
ahead, go
your.
ahead and record this if you want to make it like your text tone, authentic COVID cough.
No, but like it's just like it's we need to like get not like get our fucking heads back on our shoulders because like I understand people are cynical about some things, cynical about like the government and whatnot, but like man, like don't you're. I just watched the movie Jojo Rabbit, right? This is kind of like random, but
Uh-huh.
okay, so it takes place during Nazi Germany, but it's a comedy, and thank you to the Jews for allowing comedies about the Holocaust to happen, because to be honest, there is humor in tragedy, whether you like it or not, softies, okay? Because it's a dark humor, but if you watch Moments, there's a scene in this movie where Stephen Merchant stops by the house with like a bunch of Nazis, okay? And they come over and they start spouting off stuff about Jews that's like so ridiculous. Like Jews have horns, they sleep upside down, and
Yes.
it's not even a joke conversation. Like you're laughing because it's in context of a comedy,
Yeah.
but you're like also like this fucking happened. This happened where people were so willfully ignorant, and then it spread to the misinformation, disinformation spread so deeply into the pores of a population that it was like, hey, it was a big move to be like, hey, they probably don't sleep upside down, right? I mean, because like we've all met Jews, we all like,
Right.
before this was going down, like my Jew was like a Jew I knew was a tailor, and I don't know, he seemed to be kind of just regular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Good guy.
but the amount of this stuff will spread, and then if you're somebody, like, what's the difference if you're going around taking fucking hints from people who have guides? Like, what is the difference?
Taking
Like,
medical advice from people
right.
who use their guides.
What's the difference when Donald Trump says there's good people on both sides and we don't push back? When one half is people literally saying Jews will not replace us with tiki torches, who are protesting taking down of statues of people who were enemies of the United States of America, who lost, who somehow still get celebrated. Like, what are you actually talking about? Like, when you actually take a step back, like, what are you doing? And people right now are probably not people who are saying like, oh, we should really get rid of the Jews. Like, that's extreme, right? That's extreme. But people you do know will say like, yeah, we should keep those statues up. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, it's the creep, baby. It's the creep. What becomes socially acceptable? What becomes normal? It's a creep. And so, yes, while the left combats this stuff to such a degree where they get illogical, right? Like the extreme left, you're like, I don't know what's going on with you guys, where you guys have created a whole other mythology of what's happening in the day-to-day life that I'm also a part of. I don't know what's going on with you guys. But at the same time, on the other end, we have a tolerance of things that are hatred, like Nazi behavior. Like, what? I don't know how you fix this. I told you this. John Swan on Axios. I just look
Love
for
John
the guys who are
Swan.
like the straight shooters, you know,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
news, like the straight shooter guys. Maybe I don't know. What's her name? The woman on 60 Minutes, the one who Trump
Leslie
yelled at.
Stahl.
Yeah, like she's like one of those people who's like seems to me like just straight shooter, you know?
Well, yeah, she's like got like 60 years of experience.
Right, 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 right.
Journalism.
Like, um, you know, these people are like not saying, hey, they understand there's no solution to where we're headed right now.
Right.
And so that's where I'm at, which is like, I don't know what the fuck, Aaron, like, I don't know what we're in for. Now, I'm done with this rant, and I would just end RGN. I know we went a little long today, Aaron. How are you
Oh,
holding
that's
up
okay.
in
I'm
DC?
holding up well. I mean, I'm still waiting for Nance to
Oh,
meet
you're
me
going.
down here on the floor,
This
but
is Nancy Pelosi? No, you can't say, right?
I never said her last name.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're
Don't
getting
put
your
words
nails
in my
done.
mouth. Don't put
Okay.
names in my mouth, man. I don't like
And she
that.
said specifically you don't have to wear masks at this place you're going, right?
Yeah, she did say that.
Yeah, okay. I
It's
want
but
to
it's
tie this
just
up
us. It's just
in.
us.
Oh, just you two. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, I want to tie this up in the most random of ways, Aaron.
Okay.
I don't know what I said, frankly. I was probably wrong, everybody. And by talking about.
And there's an option that you'll take it all back if you have to.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, guys, this is Section 230. I can't be held responsible, okay?
Yeah.
Is all this to say, Aaron,
Uh-huh.
I would like to talk and end on Hilaria Baldwin.
Sí, 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 sí.
Sí. Como se dice Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yo también.
Because, okay, this might seem like a nothing story. It is a nothing story.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Hillary Baldwin, okay, a native of Massachusetts, she got called out for pretending to be Spanish for like 30 years or something, okay?
Yeah.
Now, we'll get into the facts of this for a second. There's not much of a story here. But these are people now on Instagram. They're huge social media presences. They have huge brands. And, like, it's kind of just, like, part of this lie of where we're headed. Like, to me, these people are the same thing as, like, guides and shamans. Like, because they're hawking some kind of fucking products and shit, right?
Well, you know what? I used to follow a lot of influencers on Instagram
Right.
and like people I just accumulated and like developed this like relationship with on
Right.
social media. Like I followed them. And then the election happened and many of them said nothing about vote,
Trump.
go out and vote. No,
Right.
didn't even use their platform to tell people to vote. And that's when I went through everyone I follow on Twitter and Instagram and unfollowed everyone who said nothing. So I was like, well, these are just like actual shills. Like they are just living commercials for products or whatever. So yeah, it's huge.
I know.
It's a huge industry.
Yeah, no, it's a huge industry. So it's like I just want you to think about these people. They're the same thing as Candace Owens, right?
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
Less sinister.
Yeah, like less sinister, but there really are like in a way this. Not look, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this Hillary Baldwin or whatever. I don't know her, but that she's as bad of a person as Candace Owens or whatever. I don't know. Okay, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that, like, they're products of this new economy now, which is all about, like, it's all about, like, facades. And so just never take your guard down from these people who are completely unregulated, who are starting to push, a lot of them are pushing, like, real self-help stuff, like, stuff that really fucks with your, like, mental health. And there's a lot of money in these people pretending they have mental issues and pretending that there's something they're not. Like, and this is just a way more innocuous version of it.
Yeah.
But it is something to like keep in mind, which is like, yo, there's money in pretending you're Spanish. Like that's it. And this woman is from this woman. I mean, what a joke! I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know her deal, because I also felt for her because I felt like something I saw was kind of like it seemed like Amy Schumer was fucking picking on her for being thin. Also,
Yeah.
is what I saw. I'm like, that's also weird. It's like, yo, being in shape. We don't need to shame people for being in shape
Well,
either. I don't know.
Ilaria posted a video in response to that
Right.
also, where
Oh.
she said like, "Hey, like, I understand it was a joke. She was cool about it, but
Yeah. By the
body
way, this
shaming
is
goes both ways."
what we're doing right now is part of the problem because as a wrestling fan, we all understand that it's all kayfabe.
Live the gimmick.
Yeah, man, this will gain her a shit ton of followers because
Yeah.
of Section 230. There's no consequence. She could sell you literally just like table salt and tell you it's like what, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And these
yeah,
people
yeah.
do it. I couldn't do it. I mean, I really couldn't. I couldn't sell you something I didn't believe in. I mean, there's shit I could see myself believing in, I guess, right? If I take fucking something that gets me ripped, I'll let you know. I'm like, yo, this shit
Yeah.
got me yoked,
Maybe
you
we'll
know?
get a promo code for RGN. Who knows?
Whatever. But it was something I believe in. But anyway, but like, okay, is here's what I want to ask you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Is there a way to be? Here's the facts about this woman. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
she's 36 years old, born in Boston, Massachusetts.
She's
Correct?
only 36.
36. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, she's 36. Born
Wow.
born in Boston, Massachusetts. Correct?
Yeah, Massachusetts. She's
But
a
her
Bostonian.
agency booked her, billed her as from Majorca. Now, by the way,
Yeah.
she's represented by CAA. Why does this person have an agent
They're a
like that?
dancer.
She was a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Is she still dancing?
I don't think so. Oh,
Okay.
she's like a yoga instructor too. Like that's her thing now. She's like into
Okay.
yoga.
Whatever. I don't know. Again, I'm not judging that. Whatever. I'm
Yoga
a
guru.
pro wrestling podcaster.
Right.
Okay. So. Okay, so it's possible her agency said she's born in Spain as a fake in her bio. Like they don't know what they're fucking doing over there, right?
Yeah.
But I saw a video. So she lived raised in Massachusetts. How much time did she spend in Spain? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, her parents retired to Spain, is what I've put together. Like
Yeah.
they didn't like live.
See,
They went there in 2011 as like 60-year-old people, right?
yeah, this is the problem because
Yeah.
I think she might have said the first time she came to America was when she was 19,
To go to
which is
NYU, which
to
I
go to
saw.
NYU, which is a lie because
She went to full high school, like in
she
Boston.
grew up in Boston, Cambridge.
Yeah, I saw her talking to Kat and Nat, who I think are really funny, by the way. You know who they are? They're
Yeah,
influencers.
yeah.
I mean, like they're not like for me, but I saw them and was like, oh, they seem legit funny and good friends. You know,
Mhm.
nice Canadian ladies. I don't know. Do they shill any? I'm sure they shill bath salts or whatever. You know.
Who knows?
But anyway, yeah, so she said she came from NYU. So she got caught lying here, right? And then
Yeah.
if you were born in Massachusetts, would you ever not know there's a clip I saw of her saying, "How do you say in English cucumber?" I mean, get the fuck out of here. Can you be so speaking Spanish so long that you forget cucumber? Maybe?
Well, the problem was with me for that clip was the
Yeah.
way she said it was like tomato, how do you say? And then the lady goes cucumber and it's like how do you say like that's like something that like a non-English speaking person would
Right.
say like
So like Aaron,
I don't know.
my
That was
grandmother is Cuban, right? My grandma died when I was 2 years old, and my grandfather married a Cuban woman. She's from Cuba, full on, and like she probably lived in Cuba till she was 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And would do that.
Yeah.
You know, but and she had like a full. She has like a. I say she's alive. She just has dementia, so she's kind of like gone essentially.
Mhm.
But she but she was like my grandmother, and she would say that, but like you can't be 36 years old.
Well, and this was a couple years ago.
And say
so
that like that's. But I guess I've been in. in Spanish-speaking countries before, and I don't know. This is just more fun, but like
Yeah.
I have like gotten used to speaking Spanish. But like,
Hmm.
would I? First off, her name's Hillary. Would you
Her
change your
name
name to
is
Hilaria?
Her name is Hillary. She justifies going by Ilaria because her family lives in Spain, is not from there. And when she would go there, like when she was younger, like
Yeah,
when they would probably like, do a little puddle jumper over to Spain from
right,
Boston, they would call her that. So she said, like, as to not conflate my names and because it's confusing, I just started going by Ilaria.
right. What
So
is your
stupid.
conclusion here?
I mean, my conclusion, like, I followed this because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
But then someone was like, you have to, like, the best thing on Instagram right now is what's happening on her page. I was like, why? So then I looked at it, and then she made that video clarifying, like, where she's from. And I think she just got caught in a lie. And I just
right.
think, like, she's Alec Baldwin's wife. They have 100 kids. She really is not in any position. Like, I don't know why anyone would really give a shit about it one way or the other, and she probably felt that way. So it was like she was just faking it basically. And she acknowledges, like, I'm a white girl, I grew up speaking Spanish, my kids speak Spanish, and I go back and forth between the two. But she did just get, her persona was just busted.
It's yeah, it's so fucking. It's just
But
people.
this is like social media, like you can present yourself any
Yeah,
way you want. And like, I mean, Alec Baldwin doesn't give a shit. Like, he knows the story with her. Like,
yeah.
he don't care.
Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about this. It's just fucking.
I'm fine.
It's
I don't
hilarious
I
because she
don't
literally
care
is
about
like,
her at
"I'm
all. So I'm fine with
Melania,"
it.
like she does a
I
fucking.
know.
She does like a full-on phony accent. Like
I
if
don't
you.
think it's right to misrepresent yourself as
Nah.
like a Spanish person, but if she genuinely like has that culture, something you were like raised with, it would be like if I spoke like my mom's Filipino dialect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Granted, like I'm just like it's half of who I am, but like
Yeah, but Aaron,
that
so
would
let's say
be a
you were
little
19,
authentic.
you grew up in Michigan,
Yeah,
19 years old, you went
yeah,
to the Philippines. Let's just
uh-huh.
even be
I
generous. Let's
did
say,
do that.
okay, so let's be generous. You went to the Philippines, let's say every other year you went for 6 months, but you still went to like, or you went for the summers, let's say, but you
Uh-huh.
still went to high school in Michigan,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Would you come back speaking Filipino? I mean, would you come back
No.
and be like, uh, I could see you coming back and being like, I want to go by my Filipina name because, like,
Really?
no, not you because of your personality. I'm just thinking, like, hypothetically.
If
I
I
could
was
see someone
Hillary, yeah.
connecting with that culture so much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That
Yeah.
you do that. But would you go, like, the thing that she does is that, like, fine, she wants to go by Hilaria, but she says it like your friend who says mozzarella at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
I know, right? I know. Well, and then I started like watching her
Yeah,
video clips and I was like really trying to get to the bottom of this
yeah,
because in everything I saw except for the cucumber video, she sounds like a white woman. Like it didn't really, I was like, what is this mystery? It's
yeah.
not like she's like, but I mean, I don't think that justifies what she did, but still, I don't know. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I
But
think
I
it's pretty
feel
obvious
uncomfortable
she's
if
white.
I went into like even a like Jewish restaurant, okay, or something, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to like order like like I guess like here's the one thing I will say. I guess like my like when people speak Yiddish, like
Mm-hmm.
Jews I know when they speak Yiddish, I mean, I guess they kind of do like a little Yiddish voice, but it is real. Like not like if you say like yeah, like my mom will say like Yiddish, but she's grew up here, but she doesn't change her fucking accent. You know what I
Well,
mean?
say like, okay, Dan, say you when you were like 19
Like
went
he's a
on,
mensch or whatever. Like that's what I would
yeah.
say. I go, he's a
But if
mensch.
you went on birthright,
Yeah,
okay, when you were a young
I
man,
did.
and did you come back and start going by your Hebrew name? And
No,
does Jamie
I
call you
went.
that?
I went to Israel when I was 15 years old
Uh-huh.
for like 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, and I was
Mm-hmm.
there a long time. I came back. I didn't like go like I'm now Danielle. Like I didn't go like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But her parents moved there. Like, but also here's the thing. Like, so my mother-in-law is like obsessed with France, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she goes there, she would, pre-pandemic, she would go every summer with her
Mm-hmm.
group, and then they
Mm-hmm.
go there and they kind of do as the French do. They speak all French,
Yeah.
and now
yeah.
she's fluent. And I bet she has like a French name too, right?
Right.
That's kind of a beautiful thing, though, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess she's kind of doing that in a way. Like she's like because we do have an issue going forward. If we do now, by the way, I saw her video and it was completely out of touch. Like to be like, we're like a blend of different cultures. Like no. You have adopted someone else's culture.
Yeah.
Because
that's
you're
the thing.
which is right now deemed cultural appropriation. But cultural appropriation is that's a dying thing. Okay, because we're gonna start blending more and more, and you're gonna right, and like maybe you want to identify as like a Spanish person. That might be something that happens going forward. I really don't fucking know, and maybe that's not that big of a problem. I really don't know. Like if my Cuban step-grandmother, she raised me when I was 2. What if we got really close and I feel like it's perfectly okay. I might say like I feel Cuban. Like I was raised by a Cuban refugee who had such a love for Cuba. Now with me, it didn't take. Okay.
I know a guy. I know a
Right?
person who's a professor
Right.
where I used to work who is Asian, like born in Korea, has an Asian name,
Right.
but grew up in Brazil, was raised in Brazil, lived his whole life in Brazil, speaks Portuguese the whole nine. So on a affirmative action form where you have the option to identify your race, he identifies as Hispanic. So,
Wait,
who's to say?
but is he Hispanic?
No, he's Asian. But he grew up from when he was a baby.
That's the other sad part of it. I'm actually kind of okay with the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but like, honestly, I could really see someone in my position really connecting with the Cuban side, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it would be weird if I was like, I'm Denson Dan.
Yeah, you're
like, I'm like
Cuban
Cuban
Mark
Pete
Anthony over here.
If I was like, but I don't know. I mean, it's like, wasn't it kind of weird? Like when my Spanish teachers in like high school would kind of be like, I'm Senora this, right?
Yeah.
Like they did that.
Well, we had to pick Spanish names.
Isn't that kind of weird also?
Class,
like,
yeah, just random.
We need to all be like way more tolerant because this is going to get messy and it could be, if we want, it could be really fun. It could be really fun. If we want, we could be really fun. You know what I mean? Like we could have like Filipina Erin like one day. Like you come in and you got a whole different
Maybe
vibe.
I'll be there next week. I don't know. I haven't booked any flights yet, but we'll see.
Anyway,
guys,
everybody, Section 230, really interesting shit. A battle on free speech. And you know what? I got to be honest. I know Zuckerberg is a jabron, and so is YouTube, blah, 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 Twitter. But these guys seem to, in interviews at least, trick me into thinking they care.
Yeah, I don't.
They trick me into thinking they care, but I don't totally believe them because they're prophets or they're caught in the capitalist they're caught in a little bit of a Theranos situation.
Oof.
Yeah, which is your product's not working, guys. It's not
Never
working.
worked. Never worked.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to RGN this week. I think we covered a lot of good shit. I think we had a nice conversation today. About
feeling
a
good
lot
about
of
this one.
Complicated shit. We'll come back next week. If you want to hit us an email, hit us at regularguynews@gmail.com. We're reading your emails, getting your voices heard here. Oh,
Nancy's here.
Oh, you got to go. All right, Erin's got to go. Nancy's here.
She says hi.
Nancy, does she want to come on screen?
No,
she doesn't want to. Oh, okay.
Her hair's not done yet.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's it.
She's been like working really hard. Looks a little frazzled.
All right. Well, you got to go. Everybody, thank you for listening this week. Remember, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about the show. Tell us about RGN. We are serving up justice. And everybody, you know what to do. Stay regular.